We will go ahead and continue our post-race media availability. We welcome our winning race team and our race winner, Kevin Harvick, driver of the number 29 Budweiser Chevrolet. This is Kevin's 23rd victory in 465 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races. His 4th win at PIR. This ties Jimmie Johnson for most wins in Cup races here, 9th all-time at Phoenix. 4th victory of 2013 and 4th victory again here at Phoenix. Talk a little bit about that race out there today.
Well, yeah, you know, it's always fun to come to Phoenix, and we've been fortunate to have a lot of success here in all the divisions, and today was no different. We had a good car, and really from the time we unloaded, we qualified well, and were able to have 3 solid practices and a good qualifying session and a good race today. You know, with the way that the strategy and everything worked out today, you had to play your cards right off the bat, and you know, those guys got a little bit lucky with the way that the strategy worked out, but our car was fast enough to work through traffic and keep ourselves in contention, even with the guys that were on the other side of that strategy, and we're able to be there at the end. So everybody was just trying to put just enough gas in the cars to make it to the end, and our guys got it right, and the other guys were a little short.
Also joining us, I'll start with Richard. Everybody's phones are ringing up here. Yeah. Also joining us, our crew chief, Gil Martin. Talk a little bit about the strategy. Obviously, a lot of folks saying that everyone was on pins and needles throughout the entire race, and it seemed to last forever. That's some of the comments we've heard today. Talk a little bit about your strategy and just how you prepared Kevin for this race going into today.
I mean, it was such a tough race because track position was everything, and then we took 2 tires several times. Last time we took left side tires was on lap 100, so 212 laps on the left side tires. That was pretty amazing for the car to be that fast and only have that many laps on the left sides. But we elected to come in and pit right there at I can't remember the lap number now, but we pitted early, came back to lap about 15th, and we knew at that point we were able to put 1 can of gas in at the end, and we wouldn't have to shuffle cans at the end. We knew that was going to cost us a couple of seconds shuffling cans under green. And as it turned out, you can just about gauge how much fuel you're putting in when you're emptying a can. You know about the amount of time instead of having to guess when you're shuffling cans, because the longer you sit there, the more you're wanting to send him quick because you know that you can't lose any time there.
Also up here with us, Richard Childress, owner of the 29 car. Talk a little bit about how it feels to be sitting here. Anything can happen in a race. I think we proved that today. Kevin is only 34 points behind Jimmie Johnson. Matt Kenseth is now just 28 points behind Jimmie Johnson. A lot of things got shuffled up here today. He is definitely a contender for this championship. Talk about how you're feeling today.
Yeah, you know, we've been there, I think it's the 3rd time we've been going to Homestead with Kevin and a couple of times with Clint, having a chance to win the championship. And mathematically, you never give up till it's over. And for us to have a shot going in again this year, that's all you can ask. You'd ask to be out front like he is, but if you can't, we'll take this.
All right, we'll open it up for questions for our winning team. Please raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. We'll start in the back with Tom.
Hi, guys. Congratulations, Tom Jones, FoxSports.com. For any of you, is it harder to race a strategy race like this where there's so many ups and downs than just, you know, maybe a normal 1.5-mile race where you know you're going to be wide open the whole way?
Well, I'll let him answer that question. I know for me, you just have to let it play out. You just have to sit in the car, give them the feedback, and just do the best that you can, because they can see a lot more than I can. So he can tell you the stressful part of it.
The stressful part of it is we had dinner last night, the engineers and I, and we were sitting there trying to go over all the scenarios, and no matter how many you go over, you don't never go over the one you needed, and that's the one today that we didn't really go over last night, about trying to make certain that how much fuel we were going to put in at the end on a green flag run. And that made such a huge difference, because when you're trying to time how much gas you're putting in by basically counting 1/1000 when the fuel can's plugged up, there's a lot of variables you have there. You've got a variable of, did the gas man get plugged up good enough? Did he get it completely plugged up? Is it flowing the right amount of gas? So we knew if we could time it out to where we were just emptying 1 can of gas, we know exactly how long that takes. And so we waited to pit till we got to that point, and then it worked out. But when you run a race like this, when the tires really aren't an advantage, it comes down to the driver tenacity in the car. It comes down to the fact of he has to give 100, not 100% like they've asked for. You have to give 110% every single lap, because if you let up even 1 lap, you lose too much time. 1/10 of a second here is a long way, and he didn't do that today.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a question up front from Jim, then go up to the press box. Go ahead.
Jim Peltz, LA Times. Richard, you're standing right there when the 99 starts to slow down right in front of you. What went through your mind?
Well, I think I told him a couple of laps, or on that lap before, a couple of laps, that I thought the 99 was going to run out. I didn't think he had pitted. I came on one time and told Kevin that he was racing the 5 and 48 for the win. And then when I seen the 99 had pitted, I didn't think he could have got enough of fuel in it. So it was close. You know, I knew that if he did, he wasn't going to have enough fuel left to jump off his car.
Okay, we'll go up to the press box for questions.
He wouldn't have made it back to start finish is what I was going to say.
He's sick, so you just got to give him a little bit of slack here, man.
Medication.
We'll take questions now from the press box. Go
Thanks,
ahead.
Chris. Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Kevin, last December in Vegas, you got asked how this final season with RCR would go, and you said it would probably be your best season yet. So now going into Homestead, you've got a chance, I mean, not just at maybe the championship, but to finish second in points. I'm upstairs.
Oh, okay.
I'm a disembodied voice from far away. I'm sorry it has to be like this. Can you just talk about that maybe this could be your best season at RCR, kind of like what you're expecting, and that despite all the circumstances, you could finish second in points and go out, on that kind of high with this team?
I think he'd probably sit here and tell you that, we've been good for each other because we challenge each other. I obviously handle a lot of situations wrong, but it pushes a lot of buttons to try to make things better. There's no better way to go out than to do what we've done this year. Obviously, we went to Martinsville, and I said things that I shouldn't have said, and put everybody in a position that was not good. But I think we had conversations about things after that probably made us closer as people, and I think as we move forward, will probably make us closer as friends. So it was a tough week to handle. But I think that some of the conversations that we had were good for all of us, and made us really understand just the fact that how successful we've been together and how successful we've been for each other, as RCR. And for me, it's great to be able to, I think that situation really put into perspective, just made you think about everything that we've been able to accomplish and the things that we've been through together. And it's more of a family conversation than it probably was a racing conversation. So for me, that was great as a person. You don't want to put yourself in those particular situations just for the fact that it makes you look dumb, first off. And,
Well,
and just you want to go out on top.
Yeah, we committed to each other early in the year that we'd give 100%, and we have, and Kevin has, and just like we talked, we've had a great relationship. And when this race is over, I haven't got a driver out there that's driven for me or crew chief or anyone I can't walk up and talk to, and that's the way we want this to be. We're like family. You spend a lot of time with each other at the track, so you're going to have your spats and stuff, and just got to make it work.
All right, we have another question from the press box. Go ahead.
A question for Mr. Richard Childress, Wolfgang Munzer from German Rennsport Press Agency. Mr. Richard, earlier it was announced that you employ for next year Mike Coughlin from Formula One as technical director. What do you think is the benefit to employ somebody coming from a totally different environment into the NASCAR sport?
He was in NASCAR with Michael Waltrip Racing for a year and a half and got their program really up, going off the ground. And he's going to be our technical director. He's going to bring a lot of design work, engineering work, and we're really proud to have him there, and couldn't be prouder for Eric Warren going out and putting together the people behind this race team that gives Gil and our crew chiefs what they really need to go out and win.
Okay, we'll come back downstairs. We'll take one from Jim, then Stan.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. For Gil and maybe Richard, with everything that's taken place this season, and even as Kevin pointed out from earlier in the year, that some people thought that just because he was leaving, you guys would be overlooked. How has it been being able to keep the team as a unit together and focused on the goal, as you still have an opportunity even if it's slim, to win a championship, or as finish as high as second in points?
It's funny you asked that question. In our team meeting the day before the race, after we talked about the things that we may do or not do during the course of this race, I told the guys on the team that very thing, that this garage is tough. They look for any kind of flaw that you may have to drag you down because the competition's so close that they try to break your team down. And that's what I told these guys, that they have to be the toughest group that I've been around, just because of the simple reason of everybody's been expecting us to implode. Everybody's expected us to fail and not succeed. And with the rest of the garage trying to force some of that upon you, to not get distracted, whether it's the team, whether it's Kevin, whether it's anybody involved with our organization, it just shows the quality of these guys, because this is just a tough environment, and nobody knows how tough this environment is until you live it every day. But I can promise you, the guys that are next to us in the garage, if we find a chink in their armor, we're going to get on it. If it's turning a radio up like the 2-car tries to do to the 48 during the week to get under their skin, or if it's placing a fake camera on your pit box and trying to look like you're recording what the guy next to you is doing and make them work undercover, we're going to do it, because that's just what's going to happen in this garage area, the games that are played. And these guys are just tough.
I hear nothing. Next question, Stan.
Who knew this was going to be the press conference of the year?
All right, Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com for Richard Childress. Richard, as you look back your entire history, compare, if you will, what you've got coming up in the next week to another time when you were going into a race and it was either going to be a championship or a second-place finish.
Yeah, I mean, you just give it everything you got. We've been in that situation in trucks and Nationwide and Sprint Cup and the old Winston Cup, and you just go give it all you got. Do what got you where you're at, and that's race as hard as you can. You know, it's great to, you know, this is a long season. Everybody goes through a lot of stuff, and you start to tire down, but it's all about commitment. And your employees and sponsors and everybody makes a commitment to start the year out. And your commitment is to go give 100% every weekend, and that's what we try to do.
And Saturday, I'm going to stand beside him and lock his radio out.
Yeah, I don't need to be.
I'm turning his. We'll be fine on Sunday, but Saturday we're gonna we're gonna have the defibrillator really close, and we're gonna have his radio on easily to override.
Yeah, keep me quiet.
We'll take our next question from Lewis, then go back to Marty, and then back up front. Go
Lewis
ahead.
Frank of Speed Week. You know, you guys known for quite a long time that you know, you're going in different directions next year. But how, for each of you, for Kevin and for Richard, how important is it that you're going to finish strong this year, no matter what? Looking ahead to 2014, how important is this finish? What does this mean to you?
Well, you know, I think as we talk, and as we've gone through the year, we've been successful. We've been able to win 4-point races, 2 non-points races, and so, you know, we've been successful on the racetrack. Obviously, you wish you could erase, you know, for myself, I wish I could erase Martinsville. But I think as you move forward, you have to take those life lessons. We've had a lot of life lessons together, and you know, it started in 1999. You know, so we've had life lessons, and you try to become a better person. And I think as I've been at RCR, you learn from situations, whether it be just starting my job, or last week at Martinsville, or Dale's situation in 2001, or the situation we went through with Gil and the things that we've done there. And so you always try to take those situations, and it's not really about, you want to make your race team better, but in the end you want to be a better person. And you try to take those situations and apply them to what you're doing, and make yourself better. And I think we've been through a lot of those situations. He's taught me a lot about being a dad, and
it's great. You look at life. I'm sure y'all have heard that old song, "Don't blink, 100 years goes by fast." And you know, this is just another chapter in life that we're all living, and so it's really a tough sport. You got to be tough to hang in there and make it. And we've did a lot together. We've won a lot. We've been through some tough times, but at the end of the day, 100 years will go by awful fast.
And if you want to make some really good press, next week, lock Jimmy in a porta potty, and so this can really look good. It'll be a Cinderella story. It'll be a great thing to write about.
Yeah. All right, who's in charge?
Yeah.
Next question, Marty on the back row.
Well, it just changed a little bit. Marty Smith, what's that emotion I just saw? Where'd that come from?
Well, you know, I think as you go through time, you look at situations as life, not about racing, and you know that's a good thing. Life is a good thing, and you want to be a good person.
Now on to what I was going to ask, and it's on a similar note. What is it about you guys in controversy? I think that some of the things you've faced over your lifespan together as teammates would completely disintegrate a lot of programs. But anytime that happens, whether it was you and Richard fighting or you and Gil, you know, Gil moving on to a different job and coming back, all those things, you end up winning. How's that happen?
Great, ain't it?
What is it about your but what is it about your personality types that allows that to happen? Because it wouldn't work most places.
I always, and I know he might not want to hear this, but I always tell people it's a generation gap. So you have his generation, and then you have my generation, and then you have the guys that are stuck in between, and you have Gil, and you have Mike and Dylan, and even Austin. You know, now as we go through time, are kind of stuck in the middle. You know, it's not that, you know, I don't want it. Yeah, we want the same things. We want to be successful, and we want to win races, and I think we have a different approach of how you approach things and how you talk about things and how you move through things, and so these guys have done a good job of kind of being that glue, the glue that kind of holds it all together, even when he and I are mad at each other. So so it's, you know, in the end you want to respect each other, and these guys do a good job of explaining that and really you know, keeping it all together.
How do you describe the opponent you face next weekend?
Which one?
That 48.
Well, we're talking about locking them in a porta potty, so that should sum it up. You know, we've stumbled. I don't know what the average finish is for us in the last 9 weeks, but it hasn't been too bad. We've stumbled once at Loudon with a 20th place finish, and you know, we've won a couple races, and here we are, 34 points behind the 48. So, you know, those guys they're good at what they do, and they're good at every track, and obviously Chad and Rick do a good job of keeping the next good thing coming. But I feel like we've probably had the best chase that we've ever had, and you know, you go to Homestead 34 points behind, so it's they're just good.
Yeah, I'll add something to that. You know, those guys, you look back at the history, and some of you guys that know all the numbers about the sport, they just had Jimmy Johnson and those guys and Hendricks. They've just had phenomenal years, and our average finish, we've been right there for a championship 5 out of the last 10 or 11 years, and counting Clint's couple of runs and Kevin's 2 runs and then this run, and to be able to be there and be beat by that same team says something to how strong they really are. And we're going to go to Homestead and just try to win the race, and if we go down there and win the race, we've done everything we can if we lose.
Okay, we'll take our next question on the front row right here.
All right, thank you. It's Kevin. I'm Ryan O'Hara from PopularSpeed.com. My question for you is, it took you 7 starts to win your first Phoenix race in the old surface compared to 3 for the new surface. What was so difficult? Was there anything difficult for you on the old surface that is not showing as much on the new one?
Yeah.
Or was it based just on experience level?
Yeah, I think the experience probably plays into that more than anything. I think for us today, we found some good things that work for us in practice. You know, with the grooves and the way that fit my driving style to you know, to get through turns 3 and 4 that are very similar to the things that we used to do with the old surface. So it just took me a while to adapt. And my first day here was, I think, 1995, and I wound up hitting the outside wall off of turn 4, just trying to find that particular sweet spot that exists down there in turn 4 that still exists there with this new surface. So it's been a fun run, at this particular track, old surface, new surface. We've been very fortunate to have a lot of success on this track. Yep.
We'll take our next question in the back from Jenna.
Jennifer, AP. As it winds down to only 1 week to go, is there a sense of, I guess, dread that the relationship is ending, the working relationship? And what will you guys miss most about each other?
I think just the fact that probably just the fact that he challenges me. You talk about that generation gap, but when you make a mistake and he's not scared to just step up and say, this is the iron fist that's running this show. And I think you have to have somebody that's willing to put that iron fist down and say, this is the line, this is how it's going to be, and if you don't like it, get out. And that's really how Delaney and I ran our race teams. This is our way, and this is how we do it. And I think that came from him, was this is my way, and if you don't like it, there's the door. That's probably the part I'll miss.
Yeah, I think just we're going to see each other at the tracks a lot and everything, but we talk about a lot of other stuff too. We don't, like you said, the generation gap is bigger than what it was with Dale and myself, and it was. But at the end of the day, the one thing that we both do have is a word called respect, and we'll always have that.
Final questions for Kevin, Richard, or Gil? All right, we'll take one final question up front.
Gil Carmichael from Motor Racing. Kevin, you've been racing here for a long time, and I would like to know your personal feelings about this facility.
Yeah, I have been racing here a long time, and I remember when I showed up at the first driver meeting, and I used to pick on Rick Corelli. I guess that would have been 95, and he was the old guy at that particular time. So you had Corelli, and you had Mike Chase, and you had Hornaday. And I went to the truck race that I ran. Obviously, it's known for a lot of different reasons, but the truck race that I ran in Martinsville, I went to driver intros, and I'm like, all right, there's Joe Nemechek's kid, there's Ty. And the average age was like 20 years old, and I felt like I should be somebody's dad, let alone grandpa. So, it's been fun, and you go through those times of really respecting the sport, and those guys. Especially at this particular racetrack, I know Corelli has raced here and for a long time, and long before there was any of these grandstands sitting here and any of these buildings sitting here. And I used to run the open comp cars, and my dad would come over and work on the racetrack, and if you had a bad storm, you couldn't get to the track because the bridge was washed out. So those are a lot of things that a lot of people don't remember about this particular place. And this particular place is very special, and to me, just for the fact that this was when you used to have the Copper Classic and the 300 lapper at the end of the year for the Southwest Tour cars. This was our Daytona 500. So to be able to come back here and win races and be successful, means a lot to me. And you always come here with a lot of fans and a lot of friends, so it's fun.
I just want to tell you I was here.
We're here before the interstate. Going to Riverside, I used to drive by here before the interstate.
All right, gentlemen, congratulations on your win here today. And Kevin, we'll see you at the Contenders press conference on Thursday.